a show where I try to educate real stories.
Thank you for watching Truth and Justice with Vivian King. Hey, this is Houston, and we're still recovering from Hurricane Harvey. Today is August 1st, 2018, and that hurricane was approximately August 30th, September 1st, 2018, and the Harris County Criminal Justice Center is still destroyed. We have over 700 prosecutors that had to move to 11 different facilities around the Harris County area. The courthouse is destroyed. All of the judges are sharing with other judges around the downtown area and the jail. And I just want you to know that Houston has not recovered. It's not much about it in the news. It's not much talked about. But as we speak, prosecutors on August 1st, 2018 are still moving around. And where they used to be in a building, a 20-story building, where they went to work and went up to courthouses, they're now driving to offices in the Galleria, West University, Allen Parkway, 5 or 6 buildings downtown, trying to get to dockets that have been at the jails, that have been at the family courthouse, that has been in the civil courthouse, and really justice has stopped. If you want a trial and you're sitting in that jail and you have a felony and you're innocent, you're sitting there because the courts are not open.
My.
They're not open for business like they should be. Now, the judges are doing the best they can by borrowing other courthouses. We're even having state trials in the federal courthouse at 515 Rusk. That means the county has to get the jurors over there, the inmates over there, people over there. It's crazy. It's really crazy.
So a year later, we're still seeing and feeling the effects of Hurricane Harvey.
Absolutely. And your tax dollars are being spent in a big way with Hurricane Harvey. There has to be a jury shuttle because the jury assembly room was destroyed and it's not reopened. So the jurors have to come to a different location, and there is a bus, a Metro bus, 418 shuttle that is shuttling jurors around and prosecutors in the downtown area. We're paying for their parking. We're paying for their mileage. Because if they start off in the Galleria and they have to drive into these courtrooms, they have to haul their buckets of files to the girls' jail, which is 1200 Baker, the men's jail. They're having dockets there. The civil courthouse, which is on Caroline, the old family courthouse that has been not occupied, and our intake division is now in the old jail that was not occupied. We're in buildings that have been condemned and not occupied. People are getting spontaneous nosebleeds. There are ill. Prosecutors are physically ill.
Could you remind us and the viewers exactly what your role is in the district attorney's office?
Yes, my role, I am the chief of staff and chief financial officer of the Harris County District Attorney's Office. So I run the operations of the office and our $78 million budget.
And as a former prosecutor and a former criminal defense attorney, how is that working in that capacity versus some of the things you've done in the last 30 years?
I know. Well, I've been out of college 38 years, but it just felt like I was going home. I've never really left. I was a prosecutor in '92, and even though I was a defense attorney for a long time, I was still defending against prosecutors that I knew, and I was still going to the same buildings that I'd been to before. You know, as a prosecutor, you go to court every day, and as a defense attorney, you go to court every day. So it's the same people. So I know how the mechanics of it works. What's interesting is that everything now is high tech. You know, everything is on the computers. When I left the DA's office, there were no computers. So it's a new world. It's a lot for me. You know, all of us old hands that came back with Kim Ogg had to learn how to work. You know, there was no email when we left the DA's office in '95. There was no
long time. Yeah.
There was
no email in '95?
No, come on.
Not in the DA's office. It existed then, but it wasn't at the DA's office. The assistant district attorneys didn't have computers when I left in '95. they were still, because it costs a lot of money to buy all those people computers, and that has to be a budgetary item. So that was done. I worked under Johnny Holmes. There were no computers. The secretaries had wangs, those old things that those typewriters that had memories.
Oh, yeah, okay.
That they could, like if you had to
Store
like if
it.
your trial was today and you'd been subpoenaed, and then the judge didn't get to that and they reset it for like October 1st, they could put, it would remember it so they could just change the date. But they were called wangs.
Wangs.
Yeah, that was the first computer type typewriters that had memories in them, like ribbons that memorized it. So when I left, it was a new world coming back to emails, everybody having a computer on their desk, everybody. And back in the old days with Johnny Holmes, we all shared offices. So at the new building that's now destroyed, everybody had their separate offices. But under these wartime conditions that we're in hurricane, we're all sharing again, which is driving the millennials crazy because they're the new lawyers and they're not used to sharing. So I had to put them, when we went to these makeshift offices, some of them, we had to put 2 and 3 people in one office. And that, they started quitting. It's been a problem. It's been a major problem, and the millennials are not used to, they don't always share it too well.
No, they like their own space.
Like their own stuff. But enough about me. So tonight, I just want your county, this is Truth and Justice, is where we educate you about the criminal justice system, and you just need to know that our criminal justice system is very ill right now. But there are a lot of good people for the county that are still working really hard to keep it afloat. The Sheriff's Department, everybody's trying to do a really good job doing it, but, there was no backup plan. So anyway, but we have a wonderful guest tonight that Danny got for us, Miss Sybil Sybille. I was teasing, calling her Sybil, and she made sure I pronounced her name correctly, and it's Sybil Sybille. And Sybil is a motivational speaker and has had her brush with the criminal justice system. And we want to educate you about the criminal justice system through Sybil's story tonight. So Sybil, tell us about you, and thank you for coming.
Oh, thank you for having me. Well, I'm a native Houstonian. I was born and raised here. My parents were entrepreneurs. They also, military runs in our DNA. So everybody somewhere in my family has been a part or affiliated with the military. Currently, I'm working on a book and relaunching my business. The name of my business is Sybillionaires. And it's all about promoting excellence as standard and saying that mediocrity is unacceptable. Okay. Everybody is so prone to accepting anything because of fear or whatever the reason may be, when operating in excellence should always be just that. I don't want to come to you and you say something wrong to me, or I am misrepresented, or you misrepresented. Because like I corrected you with my name. My name is Sybil Sybille, not Sybil. And that's operating in excellence, and it can be done tactfully, so.
I agree. So tell me about your early years. You told me off air that you were raised in 3rd Ward.
Yes, in an area called Riverside Terrace. I went to high school for health professions. Then I left there and I went to Jack Yates in my senior year.
All right, Jack Yates.
Yes, but no.
Oh, no.
Well, I had gone to private schools a lot, so when I went to Jack Yates, I was that girl that carried a briefcase down the hall. I was used to structure.
Well, what made you leave and go there your senior year instead of staying at high school of health professions?
Some issues that I had. I was rebelling. Okay. I wanted to move out.
Got it.
And when I moved out, my mother said, well, okay, you're gonna go to school, and you move out, that's what you're gonna do. And I'm not gonna come pick you up.
Got it.
And take you to school, but I'm not going to get in trouble for you either. Mm-hmm. So that's how I did that. And I had to drop out because it was a total culture shock for me. Mm-hmm. I'm like, come pick me up. hate to say this, but it was so true. I've always gone to diverse schools, multiracial, racial schools. So here I am in an all-black school.
Black.
Black. This is all black. And even in my mind, it was the difference from night and day.
It seemed like it would have cultivated your rebellion, though, since you were in a rebellious time.
Well, actually, I can't really say that. It made me more aware that this is not where I belonged. So I called my mother, and she came and checked me out of school. And then I went into the military.
Okay.
I went into the Army.
Army branch, okay.
Yes, that's what I did because
Did you get your GED there, or
I got my GED.
in the Army?
I got my GED from Texas Southern University.
Before the Army or after?
Before the Army.
Okay.
Because you can't go in there without,
I didn't think so.
yeah,
Okay.
you can't go in there without a high school diploma or a GED. So I got my GED.
Okay.
And I went straight in. And prior to that, I had been going to Rice University's enrichment programs every summer.
Okay.
Now, had my mom not had me doing that every single summer, I may have gone to college, straight out of high school, or right after I took my GED, but I was burnt out on school.
Got it.
I was burnt out on that, and because I'm one of 4 siblings, so it was 2 boys, 2 girls.
Okay.
And my older brother was in the Coast Guard. He was actually my hero, if you will. I admired him a lot. He went to Texas A&M. He went in the Coast Guard, and he went during a time where it was a lot of hazing, a lot of racism, but he overcame. He traveled the world, and I wanted to be just like him. And that is why I went into the military.
Why didn't you go in the Coast Guard like him?
Well, when I asked for his advice, Vivian, what branch do you think I should go in? He told me, as long as it's not the Coast Guard, I don't care where you go. I don't want anybody to know you're my sister. So for a 17-year-old who just admired their big brother, that was really, really hurtful to me. So I just picked one.
Okay.
I just picked one, and I went into the Army Reserve.
Okay, and how'd that work for you?
Well, I thought that it would be an exciting thing. I'd be able to travel, get some free education, all the perks that going into the military would be. However, that was not so for me. I was introduced to all types of drugs. I look at the military as promoting alcoholism and drugs. I don't look at it as any other thing because...
What year was that?
That was in 1982.
Okay.
And it changed my whole outlook because I was still a kid. And I'm a survivor of military sexual trauma.
Wow.
So when I speak of the military, I can appreciate them because we need them. But I really have nothing good to say about them at all, because my experience was not a very good experience. And yet I have 2 children that are veterans. So DNA, again, runs in my family. But no, I don't have a good experience with that. And I say survivor, I'm not a victim, because it is a choice to be a victim or a survivor or an overcomer. That's a choice. If you want to waddle down there and stay down there, then stay. But I choose to not stay, because what's in my past is in my past, and it has created who I am today. Had I not taken that journey of being an addict, of all of these things, I would not be able to come and sit here and say, recovery is possible.
Yeah.
See?
Well, let's get there. So tell me about how long you affiliated with the Army or Army Reserve.
Oh, I was supposed to be there for 6 years. The Army Reserves is a 6-year enlistment. I didn't do that. I didn't. I ended up going AWOL.
After how many years?
One. After my training, I'm a surgical technician. So after I did my training, I went to Fort Polk. I was stationed in Fort Sam Houston in San Antonio, Texas. And that is where this sexual assault happened. And
surgical, what is your training?
Surgical technician or operating room tech. I was a 91 Delta. I assisted the surgeon and passed him his tools and things like that. So
I'm from San Antonio, so I know a lot about the Army and the effects of it after the Vietnam War. I thought it was a drugstore at Fort Sam. I mean, they had Christmas trees, Quaaludes, pills. I really believe that the military gave those kids that went to Vietnam dope. I think they gave it to them because everybody came back
hooked, an addict.
They all came back. I was a little girl. I was born in '58, so my cousin's old boyfriends and everything. There was drugs everywhere in San Antonio, and the military bases weren't closed down then. So that Fort Sam, New Braunfels Bridge, you could just drive straight into. Just drive through. It was a thoroughfare. You just drove through it.
That's it.
I don't. Was it still like that in
Yes.
Because I came to Houston after high school in '76, so I'm much older.
No.
So it was open, and so you could just drive in. I had cousins that used to stay in the barracks with their boyfriends.
Wow.
They would hide under. I don't know how they did it, but they did it.
I had never seen
drugs
like I saw
everywhere. They got it from the military.
And then they it was like you partied all night, but you had your behind up for formation. You would be there. That's it. Well, after this assault happened to me, I'm like, oh, I gotta go. I took leave and I never came back.
Did you report it?
No, because of the fear that was put in me and some other women that I was with. They were my immediate supervisors, my chain of command. So when someone tells you, look, you better not talk about this, nobody's gonna believe you, and I know where your family lives, then what do? We spoke of it no more.
Were the women a part of it, or they just were
no, the
ones that
women
said, be quiet?
No, it happened to 3 women.
Oh, with 3 of y'all?
Yes.
Okay.
We were invited to the officers club.
Oh, yeah.
Officers club closed, okay? And so they said, well, come here, let's go to my house. Well, that was the wrong choice. That was the wrong choice. But it happened.
I mean, young people party. You shouldn't say you can't go to somebody's house when you're partying and it's a bunch of you, so.
Well, one, it was our superior officer, so we were wrong every way it went, okay? They're officers, we're enlisted. We're not even supposed to be fraternizing.
I see.
So it was just wrong. And I left, I just left.
Do you know if the other 2 women left also?
I have no idea. I have no idea, but I know I left because I couldn't take it.
Participate in that
I couldn't take
hypocrisy.
it. Yeah.
So tell me what happened after that. So what happens with you then? How do you get into some things that are illegal?
I went to Los Angeles. LA is like a second home for my family.
Okay.
So I went to LA. A lot of things happened there. I'm just running away, but you can't run away from you and your thoughts. I had no way of I couldn't tell anybody. I couldn't even hardly admit it to myself. So I lived on the beach for a while in Beverly Hills. Wow. Then I ended up going to my aunt's house, and then I came back to Houston. When I came back to Houston, I got involved with a particular person who was 11 years my senior. And my mother told me, don't bother with them. She said, they are a different class. Now, see, I feel like the kids today, you don't go and say, hey, don't do what I do, do as I say do.
Right.
Right? Well, I didn't think that. I'm like, why? What do you mean, a different class of people? So that heightened my curiosity.
Right.
And there I went when I should have not
Right.
gone. But it shed a lot of light on my life. And that's how I got justice involved, because I had never been to prison or jail even before I met this person.
So how did this person in this relationship influence your choices?
She was my lover.
Right, but how did she was not.
I wanted
she
to
didn't
do,
work legal.
I wanted to do anything to make her happy. This is what she did, so I did.
That was
it.
her lifestyle.
That was her lifestyle. That was her lifestyle. I was still in the reserves, though. I was still reporting at the VA hospital in Bentab until I just stopped showing up. Because when you have tracks and you've missed and those types of things, I have to scrub up. I'm a surgical tech. I could not do that. And fortunately enough,
So you were on heroin?
I was a polysubstance abuser.
Okay, I know that means everything.
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 Okay, I probably was a John Belushi girl.
Oh, really?
So for those that don't know what that is,
You know, this
it's
is
an
education.
upper. Yeah, it's doing heroin and cocaine, or a downer and an upper together. So, yes, that's what I was.
I think the term was called speedballing.
Speedballing. That's exactly it. That's exactly it.
That's
so
a hard addiction.
yeah.
About how old were you when you started speedballing?
Oh my God. I got home. I was probably 19.
Okay, pretty young.
Probably 19, because that's when I met that person.
Mm-hmm.
And wow, that just took me on a whole nother roller coaster ride that I was not prepared for, but it happened.
How long were you on this roller coaster, in this relationship that was kind of
That relationship
toxic?
sent me to prison because I was working. I was trying to work and everything, but this person did not work. She received Social Security, so she stayed home all the time. So while I'm at work, she's entertaining all of these people. And so she met somebody. She told me about them, and my charge was engaging in organized crime.
Right, but that was after a felony criminal mischief where you were on probation first. Do you remember that?
I do.
In
I hooked up my
1992.
own lights one time.
Okay. You got your own lights.
Look, well,
What's that mean?
Let me tell you what. You go up the pole when they cut the light wire.
Oh, okay.
And listen, God, by His grace and mercies every day, He helped me along the
So
way.
you climbed the pole, girl?
I surely did.
Not the new kind of pole they climb.
Oh,
You climbed a different pole.
The old pole.
The old pole.
I put those two wires together like
They
that.
electrocuted your crazy
Man,
self.
wow.
You could have killed yourself doing that.
You should have did what I did, just run a stitcher cord through your
Oh
neighbor's
my God,
window.
y'all stop talking about that. So you climbed the pole.
We had lights, let me tell you. We had lights. This is insanity when I think about it, but I lived in a house. No water, no gas, no lights. But you would never know it. You would never
Kept the
know it.
yard clean.
Spotless, what? When I came out of prison, I started my own landscaping business.
But when you lived there, how did you bathe and stuff?
I turned the water on.
Oh, okay. So it had none, but you turned it on.
I turned it on. I
Learned how to
had
turn
the
it
T.
on.
I had the T, so I could go to the water meter and say, and it was on. I kept doing that until
And you
they
would
took
turn it
the
off?
meter. Yeah,
You
until
turn
they
it on,
took.
turn it off.
Turn it on, turn it off.
Until they took the meter.
Until they took the meter. Did the gas like that?
Dang, you were hustling.
Man, I had to live. It's called living.
Whose house was it?
It was my father's house.
Yeah, I figured it was somebody's house.
It was my father's house. And wow. There was food cooked. We cooked all the time.
But you said you were still working at Ben Taub when you could.
You know, yeah, and then, but when I came home, that was for my reserve. See, my reserve duty called me on the weekends where I would have to go and do my job.
But let's talk about, so the first thing, the criminal mischief was at the climbing the pole.
Yes.
So that's 1992. So you got busted, and the city of Houston filed charges on you for criminal mischief, for messing with their meter, or their pole, or their whatever.
And that only really happened after, if I'm not mistaken, after they surrounded me for this organized crime deal.
They just added that.
Yeah, and added that. But I wasn't doing the probation. Who does probation
7
when
years
they're
probation.
addict?
Right, right.
Yeah, and then it was deferred. I'm not paying any kind of, what?
Fees.
No.
And so then it shows that you got an engaging in an organized crime case in 95, and that's what got your probation revoked and sent you to prison.
That's
7
it.
years of prison.
Yes, and they came at me with 30 years fed. I had 2 small children.
So you
I
had
never
you had
been
to do
in
fed
jail.
time or state time?
That was the first offer,
Okay.
okay? That was the first offer, 30 years fed, and I'm like, no.
Right now.
No, you out of your mind. I don't have a record. Come on. But I did not know that this person that I was with was talking to somebody who was organizing this thing from prison.
Okay, Danny, can you interpret what she means? 'Cause apparently you can't say everything you want to say because I don't understand that.
Okay, well, it was somebody in prison. My friend met a lady, all right?
Was she in prison too?
No.
Okay,
Who is she?
Let's just call her Sally, your friend.
Okay, Sally.
Sally.
So Sally met Jane.
Okay.
Jane had a husband in prison.
Okay.
What Jane did was sell you this story. Let's go get a bank account in your name. I'm going to put all the money. You're going to go buy all this stuff, and then we're going to take the money out before the check hits. That was just the dumbest.
Sally and Jane did this.
Yes. And
But
Jane.
how did you get involved in that?
Because Sally kept asking me to do it because working was not enough money.
Right.
Okay, and she was an addict also. So that's who, she's 11, I'm green, I had some book sense, but common sense, no, I did not have that at that time.
I'm still trying to understand in the scheme, what was your part? So
My part
Sally opened
was
the
I
account.
got the account
Oh, you
on
opened
my
the account.
name.
Oh, you opened the account in your name?
Yes, that's what they wanted us to do.
Okay.
We opened the account in our names. We go out and we purchase generators, all this
Knowing
Resellable stuff.
resellable
knowing there's
items.
no money in the bank account.
Well, it was in the account when they ran the check. Soon as they ran the check, soon as I walked out with the merchandise, we wouldn't pull the money out of the account.
I see.
All right. So really,
Before the check hit.
before the
got it.
check hits, right?
Oh, you can't do that now.
No,
Right.
That bank, everything
no.
is instantaneous now. You
Right,
can't do that now.
exactly. And so that's how I, pillow
So that's
talk will get you in
that's
trouble.
the engaging in organized criminal activity.
Because it
three
was
of you.
more right.
So everybody got charged.
Everybody. But the girl that Sally was talking to, she said, I'll get you out. She never got us out. She never put money on our books. She didn't do anything.
So was Sally in a relationship with Jane also, or just with you?
No.
Okay, well, they were just friends. Okay, and so she never got, so did Sally go to prison too?
Not to my knowledge.
But Sally's your friend.
Oh.
Now, I'm calling Sally your friend.
Okay, so yes.
We
yes,
made her
she
name
did.
now. We didn't make
right,
up her
right.
name, so.
Yeah, she actually got out before me.
So she wasn't on paper though, huh? Or how did?
Yeah, she was on paper. She almost killed me. Oh, it was just a horrible thing.
a toxic relationship.
A very toxic relationship, because if you say you love me, you don't pick up something to try to kill me.
No, you're not supposed to.
All right? And
That's the general rule.
that
That's the general rule, but
So
a lot
I
of
got
people, But
stabbed.
a lot of people violate that general rule.
Oh, all the time. So she stabbed me, punctured my liver,
Oh my God.
and yeah, and then
That's before you went to prison or after?
that was right before we got busted. So like,
Before.
yeah, so it was before.
Were y'all
And
sent to the
then-
same prison facility or different ones?
Same one. Same
Dayton?
one. And yes, well, we went to Dayton, and then I went to Riverside from there. And the whole time I was in prison, she would find a way to find me, to come want to fight me. We were like Mike Tyson and Holyfield on a street called Main Street.
I don't understand how you go from
And
lovers
Dayton.
to enemies. What's fighting enemies? What happened? Did
Well,
you make- I
one-
mean, y'all made each other mad, or you did something to her?
One, she was extremely jealous of me.
Okay.
Two, I'm in jail now. I don't want to have any parts of you at all, period. Leave me alone.
Oh, okay.
Because,
so you grew out of that relationship.
oh, what?
Because some people.
Because I'm not, beat me up right now and let's go to the bedroom. No.
That's not your
That is-
mentality.
No. That is very dysfunctional. You know, I might have been an addict, but I had some sense. You
Right,
know?
still had some pride. What was she
Right,
stabbing
right.
for?
Oh,
A jealous. I mean, if you could.
it
talk
was
about
it was a
You
it was
can't
a
talk about
jealous relationship. I was getting ready to. We went to her cousin's wedding. I had a sugar daddy. He bought us all kinds of clothes and everything, and we were changing. So we went to the wedding one way. We went back home. We changed for the reception. Then after the reception, it was the party after. So when we're doing that, she's drunk. She says, "No, you're gonna stay here." I'm like, "No, I'm gonna put you to bed. Your daughter is 17. Here's some Pepto-Bismol. Go to sleep." And that's how we got in an argument, and that's how she stabbed me.
Wow.
Because she did not want me to leave the house with that gentleman.
Even though she knew that was your sugar daddy.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you know what? And just listening to all of it, because it's a different time. This was, and me and you talk all the time about how we use the word the insanity, but when we're in these lifestyles, it's just normal. And like we were talking about the environment where gunshots and all this, where someone is not involved in, like, that's crazy. No, this really normalized living when drugs and that lifestyle is a part of your life. The shooting, the stabbing, the going to prison, the dysfunctional relationships, you begin to not see them as dysfunctional, and just like it's just another good or bad day in that lifestyle, until you're out of it one day and you realize, like, I had to be out of my mind to spend like 1 hour in that life. And I did everything I could to stay in that life, even to the point to where I would have died in it if it wasn't for, again, we always say, the grace of God.
Absolutely. I mean, I wanted out. I couldn't do it anymore. I've overdosed 7 times.
Oh my God.
And I've tried to commit suicide a multitude of times, and yet I am here on Truth and Justice. So if you cannot kill yourself by accidentally overdosing and then intentionally trying to kill yourself, you ask yourself, okay, God, what is it that you want with me? Because you need to make it plain. I need to know, because I keep waking up. So surely you must have a purpose for me.
I keep waking up.
I keep waking up.
Wow.
I keep waking up. And then they would tell me, do you know where you are? And I would just like, heck yes, I know where I am. Darn it, you know.
Yeah.
I'm back again.
Now, in all of this, when did you have time to have children? You said you have 2 children. Are they your biological children?
Oh, yes. Yes, they are.
So.
Well, when you're supporting a habit as great as mine, there are many things that you do, which are on some of my background.
Oh, I know about them. I just don't know if we can talk about them. But
and-
I know that you have some prostitution cases.
Yes, and the thing about it is I was never busted prostituting. Never, not once. I was just in the wrong place at the wrong time, and they put it on me.
Wow.
Yeah,
So you never was with an undercover cop or anything like that?
I never.
'Cause that's not what the normal prostitution case.
Yeah, yeah. And me having no common sense, like, so okay, whatever.
So through the
You go in.
prostitution situation is where you conceived your children?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when you were living with Sally, did you have children then? You said she had a 17-year-old. Did you have
She
children
had 3 children.
Okay.
I had 2.
in that relationship?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. I have a son and a daughter. My son is 29. My daughter is 31.
31.
And I have 4 grandchildren.
Wow. So who kept your children when you went to prison? And who kept hers?
I don't know who kept her children, but my mother had my daughter, and my nanny, who was sort of like my mother, had my son.
Okay.
My mother died while I was incarcerated. And, you know, I wish for no one to ever get locked up. I just do, and I tell the children, I do it all the time, because as we were talking, Danny, on the way here, some crimes are not eligible for expunction. So it's been now 23 years since I've been in prison, and now here I am. I've made all these achievements. I'm able to go into the prison and speak, and yet it still follows me. It presents barriers for jobs, housing, everything. And when you're trying, you know, you get to a point where you just get tired of explaining that.
Right.
So what do you do? What do you do? And that's why the rate of recidivism, in my opinion, is high, because they go back to what they know. People go back to what they know. So if you're hustling, however it is, if you haven't found any support system or a mentor, because I believe that a mentor is extremely important. If you do not have a mentor, then you have a tormentor. And I need a mentor. I don't want a tormentor. So, but life has changed. It changed for me because I went in and that was enough for me.
How long did you have to stay on a 7-year sentence?
They gave me 2 7-year sentences to run concurrently, and I stayed 3 years and a few months. Yes, I got out in April, I believe, of '98.
Okay, so you had to stay half the time.
You know, and the whole time I was in there, it was, I fought, and I had to. I had to fight, but I wasn't fighting people I did not know. I was fighting Sally, okay?
In prison.
In prison. And they ended up putting her in protective custody. Everybody knew that she wanted to kill me. Yeah.
I don't understand how your lover wants to kill you when
What's
y'all
the-
raised children together.
But it's a thin line.
But I'm just saying, I can say it was just the 2 of them, but they raised children together, so I don't understand how she'd want to kill you.
My mother told me that was a different class of people, okay? So had I never crossed the street, I wouldn't have had to worry about that. Because my mentality is, you do not pick up something to hurt the one that you love.
Right.
So I'm a different class.
I see. And hers is?
Hers is, get it how you live. And if you don't do what I say do, then we're gonna fight.
Okay.
Okay? But that just, I mean, we were together like 12 years.
That's a long time.
The first 5.5 were peachy keen. So I thought.
12 years is a long time.
After that, straight downhill. Because I don't want to fight and then make love. Who does that? Yeah, well, a lot of people do that.
It, but that's
a lot of people do that, but that's
me.
not my idea of a loving
So you think
relationship.
that you stayed in prison longer because you were having fights and getting write-ups? Or do you think...
No, I kind of think that they wanted to protect me so that I would not be on the same bus going out with her because she had not succeeded in killing me. The last fight that we had, they put us in a room maybe this size. There was windows all around it, right? You could see. It's where all the officers and the warden, all those people were. And I turned around, and I'm looking. I'm like, you need to get me up out of here. Well, get me out. You need to get me out of here. I don't need to be in here. I'm trying to go home because she told me that she would cause us to do day for day this whole 7 years. I'm like, you're out of your mind. I have kids. I love my kids. I'm going back to my kids. So she hit me in the head with a steel-toe boot. Bust my head, and then that is when TDC did something about it.
What'd they do?
They put her in protective custody.
Well, you seem like you need to be in protective custody.
They locked her up. Her protective
Isolation,
custody was like a SEG almost. So yeah, that's what happened there. And so when it came time for us to get out, I believe that's why she got out first, because they didn't want us, because they hadn't done anything
Seems like
else.
you would get out first, though.
I would have thought that, but
Wow.
not so. Not so.
Wow.
Yeah, it was a very tumultuous, crazy time.
And so what year did your mom pass away?
In 1997.
And she had your girl?
She had my daughter. She had my daughter, yes.
So where'd your baby have to go after that?
I went with my sister, as my mother ended up developing Alzheimer's.
Okay.
So my older sister had her and my daughter in Los Angeles. And then my mother died. So she had to stay with my sister.
Were you ever able to reunite with your children?
Yes. My nanny brought my son to see me all the time, which is not a good feeling.
Right.
But still a good thing, because he got the ability to see this is what happens when you don't obey the law. There are consequences to everything. Now, you either choose things that are going to be advantageous to you, or you choose things that are going to be disadvantageous to you. So keep your friends right, and that circle needs to be very tight.
So he learned a lesson from that.
He learned a lesson from that, and he's never been to jail, my son.
But your daughter was in California.
My
so
daughter
she
was in
couldn't-
California. Yeah, then my sister ended up dying.
Oh, my
So my daughter was shifted around quite a bit between my cousins and up there. It was really a bad time.
How did her life choices come about after that experience?
My daughter, I'll put it to you like this. She went into the Air Force. And she has an honorable discharge. She stayed 6 years.
Okay.
Okay.
So she learned a trade.
Yes. She also is a spoken word artist.
Did she stay in the California area, or is she here?
Oh, she stayed. No, now she's married in Las Vegas, Nevada.
Okay.
And that's who I have all my grandchildren from.
Okay. She's
So-
busy.
Yes, yes. So very, very proud of my kids. You know, when they were born addicted. I know they were. My first question was, do they have 10 fingers and 10 toes?
Right.
Okay,
Because you was in the life when you had them.
I was in the life
All the way to the time they were born.
all the way.
Wow.
And had it been the rules or laws like now,
Will they take
I would have been under the jailhouse.
Right.
And they would, yes,
They
of
take
course.
your kids if they're born.
That's right. That's right. So, blessed again. Blessed again. You know.
I want to bring something you said, because the irony is that I graduated in '82, and I went into the military in '82. And Vivian, if you know a little bit about my story, I was introduced to freebasing while I was in the military station at Presidio, San Francisco. And I don't resent or blame what happened to me, but I'm from Texarkana. I got introduced to cocaine in the military. And I'm not
Were
saying,
you on the base or
Yeah,
were you
on the-
just in the city?
well, in the base.
Off that night.
Well, no, they used freebasing as a party drug that they told me that, well, you can't smoke marijuana anymore because the military was coming down. So marijuana stays in your system 45 days.
That's right.
So they use logic on me because they know I'm a thinker. So Danny, this is what you do. Cocaine only stays in your system 48 hours. You know, that way you won't get in trouble. Like, but what is cocaine? Is not marijuana, but it's the smokable cocaine. So they set me down, and I'm already a good.
See.
And told me what to do. I'm following all the instruction manuals of how you smoke cocaine, doing everything. And then when I got that rush, it was a new experience, just like having sex for the first time was. Like you knew when you had sex the first time, there was gonna be a second time.
Right.
You know when it was gonna happen, but you know it's gonna be around
do
two.
this again,
I'm gonna do this again. You know what I'm saying? So cocaine was like that. I didn't know when it was gonna happen or how, but when the opportunity came, I'm gonna do this again. And it took years before it turned into an addiction. I mean, I took the first hit in '82, but I didn't get my first experience in the criminal justice system until 1989.
Right.
So it was a journey.
When you were 28.
Right.
I remember.
Yeah, so it was a journey.
I remember everything about your story.
Yeah, so
But thanks for sharing. I'd like to hear it again.
yeah, but
Every viewer has
it's
knowledge.
just being in the military, like she's saying. You look at, I came out of my neighborhood. I left all of this lifestyle, joined the Army. I'm going to see the world,
And then.
I saw the world in some extra stuff.
Yeah.
But I digress. It's about you.
And that's okay. You
Well,
know?
tell me how you got off drugs, because I see the magic clock is saying 10 minutes, and it's such an interesting story. We could talk for hours.
Because I got off drugs because I had no choice.
So in jail, did you try to do?
I cold turkey heroin in
prison?
the county.
Oh, in the county.
And that's not even on my record, okay?
Right.
Because when they ask you, do you do any drugs? Are you on this or are you on that? No. No.
Because you just were going to deal with it. You're going to detox on your own.
That's right. It
Now, did you
almost
do that-
killed me.
Did you do it the first time when you got arrested for the criminal mischief, or did you do it later?
No. It was when I went for organized crime.
Organized crime, mhm.
Because I stayed in Harris County a year fighting that case.
I see.
All right, and but I kicked it. I didn't have a choice. I didn't want it on my record. I'm from a family that was a somewhat prestigious family. My mother did a lot of entertaining of council members and things like that. What's done in the day is done in the day, and I lived a different way at night. What went on in the house, you didn't come out talking about it.
I see.
Okay, so
You had to kick that addiction.
I didn't like it anymore. I didn't like it anymore. And I saw what it had done to me. See, when you look yourself in the mirror and you don't recognize who you are, it's a problem. And I didn't like who I became. I did not like that.
So you went through the physical pain of withdrawal with heroin, because I hear it's really tough.
It's tough, but it's doable.
Right.
It's doable. I wanted to be clean, and I did not want it to be on my record. And I have no drug charge on my record till this day, except for marijuana.
Right.
And that was one time too many, And today I can say that I'm clean, and I love it. I love it, and I want everybody to know that recovery is possible, not just from drugs and alcohol, but from the hard knocks that life throws at you. It's a choice.
How long you been clean, Sybil?
14 years.
14 years. Congratulations.
Since what year was that?
2004, when I went to jail for that marijuana. That's right. It changed my life. Because I didn't want to do that anymore. And I didn't want my kids to do that. And I've been very honest and open with my children. People say, you know, don't tell your child this, don't tell your child that. The thing about it is they are human beings. And every human being deserves respect, mutuality, dignity. They deserve that. And if you dare say I love you, then I'm going to be truthful with you. You're my kid, I know. But I got to let you know what's out there.
Do they know who their fathers are? Or
Yes.
they do?
My son knows who his father is. My daughter does not. We can't find him. I don't know where.
Can't figure that out.
I don't know where he is, you know, but.
Was your daughter's the oldest? Was her father in the life too? Or just somebody you were dealing with?
He was just what they call a trick.
Right. I know it was a trick.
Yeah, you know,
But you know, you had sugar daddies too, so some tricks are consistent. You know, so I didn't know,
Right.
you know what I mean? Because
Right.
you had the sugar daddy, so I wasn't
Right.
sure if the sugar daddy was his, you know, the daddy, or
Oh no,
or if
no,
he was
no.
just in the life. So it
No,
could be
that was in a really rough patch when I was really doing like anything and everything to support my habit.
right.
Because I wasn't just supporting my habit. I was supporting
Sally.
Sally's habit and still maintaining a household. Okay, and I've gotten to the point I tell people, look, I'm grateful for my toilet paper.
I know that's right.
Okay, because some people don't have that.
And you remember the day when you didn't.
That's right. That's right. And to be able to wake up and know what my name is, that is powerful for me. For a person like me, that is extremely powerful. To know who I'm laying next to, and which is nobody. I have 2 service dogs, but I wake up and I know who I am. I know what I did last night.
So compared to a time when you had no memory of what you were doing, or didn't give a damn about what you were doing.
You know what? That's like a double kind of answer question.
I probably don't know how to ask the question.
Yeah.
So try
Okay.
to get-
So it's not like you don't care, but it's like you got to feed your habit. So I knew what I was doing was wrong. It wasn't right, because anytime your moral compass, you know good from bad, right from wrong. Anytime you have to do something undercover and you can't let people know what you're doing, it's not right. So I learned that's not right. And I wanted to stop. And the only way I was able to stop, though, is to get locked up. And I don't wish that on anybody.
Well, I
Thank
like the point you make is the loss of identity. And when you're saying not recognizing who you are, it's like physically I make and look in the mirror, but it's just like the person that I once knew, and I used the story about when I got clean and sober, I was walking through the park, and there was a guy sitting on a bench, and I thought I recognized him, and I was like, and I stopped and looked, and every movement I made, he made. I did like this, he did like this. I'm like, hey, you me? It's like, yeah. Like, you been here the whole time? Like, yeah. It was like me before I got on drugs and alcohol. It's like I stopped living and left that person just right there on that bench. And he couldn't go anywhere, couldn't do anything, because I started living a whole different life by whole different values and standards. But I still had them, but I had just left them behind somewhere. I lost them. Then one day I decided to go back and try to find, I didn't start off like life like this. And I found myself sitting on a park bench, and I had been there a long time. But once we found each other, we hugged and we cried and we embraced each other and we vowed never to leave each other again. And since, that's my sobriety. And so since I've been clean and sober, I've been able to connect with that person that my parents' values and how I was raised. And I can be a productive citizen like my aunties and uncles and most of my family were. They just worked. Mm-hmm. They went to church. They paid bills. They kept their homes forever.
The normal stuff.
And they just live life based on principles, and most of them were spiritual principles. And one thing is they preached honesty and integrity. They didn't believe in lying and cheating and figuring out a way to get around stuff.
Right.
Well, it's a new world like that now, but we got 3 minutes, so I want Miss Sybil Sybille, the motivational speaker, to talk to us the last 3 minutes and just say things that you want people to learn from your story.
What I want people to know most of all is that your behavior determines everything about you. I am role modeling a standard that others will be measured by. And so in doing that, you have to connect with the right people. Everything can influence you. Things are not easy, but it's how you react. And you only have the power to control you. You cannot control other people. So make sure that the circle you're in, that you're in a positive circle, that you're in a circle with that has dreams and aspirations. Iron sharpens iron. So if your set of friends are can't tell you anything, and you're always pouring into them, you need a new set of friends, because I'm gonna need to be filled back up, because it's tiring. Somebody has to fill you up. Everybody doesn't believe in God, but believe me, I'm gonna drop to my knees and say, fill me back up, because you have given me this charge, and now everything that I have run from is coming to me. So since you've put this mantle on me, since I'm living for this, then help me to show people that recovery is possible, not just from drugs and alcohol, even mental health, which is such a stigma behind that. And I've dealt with my share of that. But keep yourself grounded. Be around people that can guide you, mentor you to do something better, to give you a pathway and offer different ways to attain that goal that you want to get to, because you don't know everything. We don't know everything.
Well, Sybil, we don't know everything, but I can tell you this. We know a little bit more about you tonight, and it's a great story. And thank you for having the courage to speak about it. Thank you for sharing. There's somebody who will watch this on YouTube that'll appreciate knowing that, hey, if she can do it, I can do it. They might be in the middle of that battle, in the middle of their demons, and that we might be giving them the courage to go ahead and finish that fight, that knockout punch to the demon.
It's possible.
And I do believe it's possible. Danny, thank you again for bringing Sybil Sybille. She's been quite enlightening tonight. And it's good to get some female stories. So I'm glad tonight that we had a female share her story. And anyway, I hope you learned something tonight. Thank you very much for watching, and see you next time. Good night.